Before the game jam begins, one of the things I needed to do was to figure out what the game would be called. After doing a couple Google searches and searching on itch.io, I finally settled on the name of A Village by the Stream. The first day of the game jam was on a Wednesday. I work on Wednesdays, so I didn't get as much done for the game jam as I would have liked. The first thing I made was a main menu. This will allow me to create sandboxes and toggle between the sandboxes quickly and efficiently. Next, I started working on a player character in a sandbox to test the player character's movement in. With it being the first day of the game jam, I am not too concerned with how the game looks, so for the player character, I just made a colored cube. I recycled my FPS player controller for this third-person perspective game. I had to make some modifications, and that led to some issues. The first bug of the game jam was a key mapping issue, because it was based off of FPS game. I forgot to change the left and right, so they were still set to strafe instead of turn left and turn right. After fixing the issues with the player character, I moved on to creating the first NPC. We can call it the Wandering Monster. This will be a basic AI that can follow nodes to wander around the map, hopefully without falling off or bumping into the objects. On the second day of the game jam, I finished the Wandering AI. It's a simple state machine with 4 states. It starts in the idle state and stays there for a set amount of time, then it briefly switches over to the wander state where it determines the long-term goal. Once the long-term goal is set, it switches to the wandering state. While in the wandering state, it'll move from node to node until it finally reaches the goal node. Then it switches to the idle state. It will sit for a designated amount of time. It's far from perfect, but this artificial stupidity will make for an excellent starting point for the next AI. If time permits, I'd like to come back and fix this code, then possibly add it to my ever-growing collection of reference code. On the third day, I started working on the prey AI. I'll be using this for creatures like deer, boar, and bunnies, creatures for the player to hunt and things to distract the predators. The prey AI will be one step above the wander AI. The prey AI should have the ability to actually see other NPCs that are in the area. When another NPC is detected, it will check to see if that is a fellow prey or if it's player or predator. In the case of it not being friendly, it will attempt to flee to the safest neighboring node. Over the next week, I want to extend the AI once more to include the Predator AI that will be able to see the player or see prey animal and then give chase. We'll see how that goes.